Welcome to Improvement Week number 2 for Ohio State, and welcome to the enhanced, newly reopened Roosters Lounge. I'm choked up,
Yeah.
Nicole. It's so special to
guys,
be back here for the live
been
show.
waiting.
Olentangy.
I mean, it's like our home. Henderson was amazing to us. I loved us being able to be there, and the team was so great to us. It's just this has been where we started. This corner in the back room, and now this back room is fully private.
Unbelievable.
And it is the live show at Roosters,
Awesome.
presented by Tansky and Bryant Heating and
yeah.
Cooling.
Thanks for getting that intro in for me, Nicole.
Oh yeah. Just always trying to help.
Yeah.
But it is just so exciting. So we're doing soft opening today. It's family and friends, basically, where our staff's getting a practice round, kind of practice on their family and friends, serving and cooking, all the things. And then grand opening is Thursday,
Oh, wow.
11 a.m.
This place looks
amazing.
It's amazing.
Thanks,
It is.
guys.
So bright in here. I need sunglasses.
Such
Oh,
a
so
nice
much
job.
light.
You want to pop back out there and get your shades, Bob?
No, I think I'm going to be good, but this is gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of the store on the east side, the new
Gehanna.
one.
Gehanna,
store,
yeah.
which just, it feels so, I know it's the same size. Someone goes, it's so much bigger. I'm like, I don't think they expanded it at
We
all.
could, yeah, we
But
didn't
I'm like,
expand.
it does feel more efficient with the space.
Yeah.
So I'm
But we
excited.
did purchase the lot next to us, so that's going to become a parking lot.
Hey, let's
Okay.
go.
So
All right.
yes, now that they're building, all the
Unbelievable.
things in the back.
All
so.
the things.
It looks
Oh,
fantastic, and it will be open in time for Ohio State and Penn State when they
Isn't
return.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. So just down the road from the Horseshoe, when Ohio State gets back to work, that's Justin Zwick, by the
Hey,
way.
yeah.
Nicole Cox, Bobby Carpenter, I am Austin Ward. The Buckeyes won 34-0 at Wisconsin on Saturday, and I don't know how much time we have to belabor it because they checked all those boxes, and you could tell, Bob, that they were ready to get into off week. And this team that kind of needs it, I think. You look at some of the nicks and bumps and bruises, but they shut down Wisconsin entirely. The offense exploded in the passing attack. It's like pretty good win every way you take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you check all the boxes. You're watching Julian Sayin seemingly get better and more efficient every week. Defense did kind of what the defense does. Looked pretty good. Now, albeit it wasn't exactly the tallest task in the world, but I was enjoying listening to. Do they have when you were at the game, Austin? Do they have like the TV call playing? Can you hear the?
We
audio?
cannot hear them. No.
So it's funny. Daniel's sitting there like, wow. I mean, I think this defense is really still lobbying for the shutout. Keeping a lot of guys, and then they start looking like, I don't know any guys that I know. And then he starts running through, and he's like, yeah, well, I guess there's Riley Pettijohn. There's
I
this
guess
and
there
that.
aren't.
Yeah,
no
I guess
starters
the
out
backups
there.
are in.
Yeah, and those guys
They're
are
just
on
still
play.
really good.
And it was great. I give Fick a lot of credit for going for it on fourth down at the end of the game. The field goal, I mean, it blanks the shutout, but nobody wanted to see that, especially their fans. Great play by Aaron Scott.
He would have been booed more mercilessly
Yes.
if he
Yes, he
kicked
would've kicked
field
field
goal.
goal.
Absolutely. And so they went for it. Aaron Scott gets the stop, and then that's the game. And now they get through. Were they 7-0?
7-0.
7-0. So you're through that first half of the season. You got to bye, and then 5 remaining. So this probably is a pretty good time. It was going to be a really good time when Penn State was still really good, although they looked better against Iowa. I think
And did they win?
they didn't win.
No,
They gave up nine.
no,
They gave up
that's
9
four-
points in the fourth quarter.
It's 4 in a row.
Yeah. They gave up.
Winless in the Big Ten for
Yeah.
those preseason national title contenders.
Yeah, that's not very good.
It's
But
not.
they did look at more of a fight. Let me ask you this before we move on.
Okay.
Do you think there's any chance that they move that off of Big Noon? I looked at the rest of the slate, and I can't imagine them moving it. I don't know who else is there. That
I think it's still a big game.
I was
right?
told consistently throughout last week that Fox was still fully invested in that. I guess there's a lot of other moving pieces that are involved in scheduling a Big Noon kickoff and bringing in, the road show and all of that
I mean,
stuff.
they put us on against who? What was one of the games?
Last year, the Nebraska game, we're like, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
And they've taken much worse matchups than that. And I think that part of it is they also still feel like there's a lot of interest. There's always going to be interest in Penn State, but then storylines with James Franklin, Jim Knowles. So we're gonna.
Jim Knowles coming back to town. That's definitely.
We'll find out for sure. But
How many
indications.
points do you think Ryan's going to try to score?
Well, isn't that could be a fun
He's
conversation.
a defensive
Yeah.
genius. I don't know,
It's
Bob.
just-
Because
Put that in
you're
the hopper.
also still trying to play 16 games and you don't want the tempo.
And I do have a question. How, at what point does Fox have until they can change it? Because people do make plans. I just want to.
There's I believe twice a year that they can elect to use a 6-day window.
Yeah, 7
Okay,
days,
6
basically
days.
a week.
But they are doing that already for games this week. So I don't believe that will happen for next week. I could be wrong because we're going to find out the kickoff times for that they have to make an announcement by the middle of Monday afternoon. So we'll know for sure shortly, but everything does seem to be trending towards noon still. And Fox is not going to miss opportunities to put the number one team on the country. Yeah,
Yes.
so
Still a big game. I mean, Penn State has done what they've done the last few weeks, but I mean, they could rescue their season with a win against the Buckeyes.
yeah, Wisconsin though they were not a very talented team, Nicole, and so
Well,
kudos to Ohio State for continuing to go out there and just handle their business the way they did.
Their injuries for Wisconsin. I felt like the
I
whole
don't know
team was out.
I don't know how you can boo the guy when it's just like you got 15 guys that should have been starters for you.
Yeah.
Not playing, thereabouts anyways. And then you lose a couple in the first half of the game.
Did they say they were on their fourth string running back?
They were dipping
third
into
or
the
fourth
depth
string
there,
quarterback.
Yes.
I mean, it's incredible.
Oh, I felt bad for them, but we won, so
I felt very bad for Luke because it was the first drive of the game. They immediately started with the fire fickle chance. I'd been down on campus on Friday night, and everyone's like, "Oh, you guys are here. You cover Ohio State." Like, I hope people stay till halftime. Like they'd given up on the season. They weren't even excited to go to the game. The student section was half full at that house for the Badgers, and it was like this used to be such a proud program, and it still is, but they had just given up entirely. They had no hope of winning that game, and their fans had given up on it, and that part sucked, especially because Luke himself, Bob, and you've known him longer than any of us. Jay-Z, you're in the same boat, but he looked like he hadn't eaten in 2 weeks.
He's taking this. I mean,
he's taking it very hard.
Yeah, and that's it's a hard thing. You going to Wisconsin, you thought what he did at Cincinnati, and you just believe that Fick's going to turn that program into like watch out for Wisconsin, and then things just haven't gone well for him, and then you throw on all the injuries coming into this year when he kind of needed to, and then the schedule they had this year is come
it
on,
was the perfect storm.
It really is.
And don't you think it would be hard to recruit to Wisconsin?
So it's interesting, Nicole, because for 30 years they were really good. Before that, they were really bad. But like in our lifetime, they've always been.
We've known them as a good program.
Known them as a very good program, top 4 or 5 program every year. But in the new landscape, and I was kind of looking at this, trying to talk through it, like the best player from Wisconsin on the field on Saturday was Ohio State's center.
Mm-hmm.
So like they always used to keep those linemen, like the Joe Thomases and guys like that who end up being good NFL players. They keep those guys locally, develop them. The best receivers they usually had at Wisconsin were Ohio guys, like Chris Chambers, Lee Evans. Like they go get these guys, out of Northern Ohio.
And they're
Now,
used
their
to
best
that weather.
receiver was an Ohio guy, but he didn't even touch the football on Saturday, Jaden Bowers.
Jaden Bowers, so like they bring him in, which would have been a similar situation. They'd always get like a running back or someone out of New York, like Jonathan Taylor and Ron Dane historically, guys like that. Melvin Gordon, who had been in Florida, like other parts of the country. And then they kind of pieced that together, and they had people that cared. They developed players. I don't know that formula still works. And they got protected because they were in the Big Ten West, so they didn't have to play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Michigan State very regularly. But now, like, that's all gone. And I don't know that, like, that same formula can work anymore. Like, I think with what Kirk Cignetti's doing at Indiana, you probably, because they have more money and things and facilities, they probably have a better opportunity there to be able to turn it around and do what they're doing than you would at Wisconsin anymore.
And that's crazy to think about. But, you walk around Camp Randall, and it's an awesome venue for college football. Madison is one of the best college towns that you're going to find. But then there is a lot of construction going on. You can tell that they're trying to build for the future, but how does that match up with the roster building? And, Luke tried to innovate and bring in the air raid Jay-Z, and like that didn't work because it's harder for them to find. They haven't landed on the right quarterback. They've not had the skill personnel. And then they went, let's try and go back to an old Wisconsin identity. Well, it's too late. You're in between two worlds, and they looked.
It was kind of like when Rich Rod went to Michigan and changed basically all the personnel because, hey, I'm going to bring this air raid in, and we're not going to do it like we used to. And I feel like Fick had a little bit of that, and maybe to Bobby's point where they can't keep those offensive linemen in the state of Wisconsin anymore because they used to just be huge up front. And then you get a big back in the backfield, and, they did really well. But when you start changing, how you think you want to play, then trying to revert back to it doesn't typically go well.
Yeah, so soon, unfortunately, I think Luke will be looking for his next adventure. And if you're looking for your next adventure, head to Tansky Power Sports. It is your one-stop shop for ATVs, dirt bikes, golf carts, and more. Whether you are looking for speed, power, or versatility, Tansky Power Sports has something for everyone. With the best brands and expert service, visit Tansky Power Sports today at 2491 West Dublin Granville Road, or browse their huge selection online at TanskyPowersports.com. Tansky Power Sports, where the adventure begins. and it will continue on the practice field for Ohio State. They are off on Saturday, improvement week, enhancement week, off date number 2, Nicole, and I think that the Buckeyes are going to go into it feeling pretty good because they had a bunch of performances that could earn some Roosters Buckeye leaves.
Yes, definitely. Where do we find these quarterbacks, you guys? I mean,
it's pretty good.
He's incredible. And I've said this a lot, but he's just very calm out there. It seems like nothing's bothering him, and he just has so much confidence, but not arrogance either. I don't know. So we've been talking a lot about how they've just been trying to run the ball and, a lot of running plays, which aren't as exciting as the long passes.
Oh, yeah.
And so he finally did a few of those, which were absolute perfection. I still can't get over, and that goes to Carnell Tate too. He was being blocked and he still was able to get up there, catch it, make the touchdown with the 1 foot in, still in bounds.
So
It's one of the best catches you're ever going to see.
It was incredible. And just his precision on getting that ball to him and keeping the balls high. As I was listening to the commentators saying receivers
high
the ball
point.
high. Yeah. Which you can tell. That's when they catch it the best. So I was just in awe, honestly. I couldn't believe he did that multiple times. The 4 touchdowns. We're so lucky to have him.
Somebody mentioned to me on Saturday, Jay-Z, the ball placement specialist stuff, the accuracy. It is not just on some of the deep balls, even just routinely putting it in front of the helmet and vision so that you can get it and go.
Some of the hardest balls that a quarterback can throw are when you're on the left hash and you're going to the right sideline.
Yeah.
Still right here. It's right in front of his guy's eyes every time. And these are long throws to the sideline, and he puts them. How many have we seen this year where they got their toe down, they're falling out of bounds?
Yeah.
Just perfect placement. And he just continues to do it. And it's almost like, when is this going to stop? Because it just seems to be so on the money. But, every time he throws the ball, when he's seeing it clean, it's right there. The ball to Brandon Ennis in the back of the end zone. What a shot. Running to his right. Just put it on the money. I love his poise in the pocket. Even when you think he has a blitzer, he doesn't freak out.
Yeah.
I'm going to just take a step up there.
Cool,
the first throw to Carnell.
Yeah. He just kind of, finds a way to give himself some more time.
I'm going to take one step to the left here.
So it looks almost underwhelming because it looks so routine.
I know. It's almost like he doesn't see that guy coming. He's just like, oh, okay.
Even the pass
just
to
like,
Carnell,
like a little urgency guy.
as good as the pass to Carnell was down the field, you would know this, it wasn't like it was a clean pocket. He had to slide, set, recalibrate his feet, and then drop one in over the line.
Well, then he had a safety, and he's putting a perfect ball.
And windows it after having to already change his platform and move and reset. That enhances the difficulty an immense amount. And he does all that, and it looks like it's almost robotic. It seems effortless. Those balls that he throws, they seem effortless. I think people aren't really as impressed with him as they should be, because when you watch it, it doesn't look hard.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You're right.
It doesn't look. I'm watching.
It's he's throwing it. Boom. It's
I feel like there should be an added layer of difficulty. Man, that looks like it was really hard. Good pass.
Yeah,
good pass, buddy.
You could tell that Ryan Day on Saturday after the game could not wait to talk about that play start to finish. Obviously, we were hammering Julian Sayin's impact on it, and he had to make some time for himself, slide to the left, deliver a good ball. And then he's talking about Carnell Tate, and we immediately go to the catch point and getting his helmet ripped off and all the other things that Nicole mentioned there with how difficult that was. But also, Ryan Day's like, well, I'd like for you guys to know something. Carnell has not repped that from the slot at all. We had an injury. Brandon Ennis comes off the field. You slide Carnell Tate in there. Quincy Porter goes to the outside. And so he hadn't repped it in I guess, all season. In the past he had, but maybe not ever. I don't know. It's and he ran a perfect route and had to make this adjustment and make a sensational catch. It's everything about it. It's guys, you don't know how good and how dominant that was.
Well, it's hard, as you know, if you don't rep things in practice. It's well, yeah, you ran it last year. And it's yeah, but that's a while ago. And by the way, it probably wasn't Julian throwing him the ball in that situation. And so for him to have the confidence that he's going to be in the place where he is supposed to be when you're throwing in between two guys and trying to avoid a rush. That's the point. All of those different elements in there just enhance the difficulty. When Ryan said that, I was like, it's hard to do things that you've never repped before and make them look that easy.
Yeah, I think Ohio State definitely wanted people to know that wasn't just something that happens very.
Well, that's what I was talking with Laurinaitis after on the post-game show, and I just asked him, like, when Julian got this job in the camp, did you expect, halfway through the season that he would just be doing this? And he's like, we see multiple balls every day in practice where it's just like, oh my gosh, so it's like you see this on a Saturday and it's like, oh my, the fans go crazy. He's like, we see these guys make these kind of catches every single day. Julian makes a couple of these throws every single day in practice. He's like, so I mean, we've been seeing it, and just it's good to have him go out and put it on the field in a Big Ten game. But it's been special.
All right, well, who else you got, Jay-Z?
Well, I mean, we talked about Carnell. I mean, I gave one to Carson Hinsman for being the Wisconsin guy. Didn't play well last time. I think he talked about it, and he's having a great year. I think the offensive line did a great job in pass protection. That's where they've really shined this year. So I throw out to them. Now the run game, we need to get cleaned up, and there's a few really bad plays on film that they're going to get after this week, I'm sure. But I think they played really well and gave Julian time to throw. Isaiah West looked like he jumped off the screen a little bit. After not really seeing him the last few weeks, they've been trying to figure out how they want to go, and then they bring in a young guy on the road at Wisconsin, and he jumps off the screen a little bit. So I think these young freshmen might be taking that ball and running with it in a way in the backfield.
If you're looking for solutions for the run game, it seems like Isaiah West could be part of that.
I think so.
Or needs
now, where is he at in the pass protection and the screen game, that sort of thing? I think that's probably maybe some of the reasons, kind of with Bo, that we didn't see him early on in the season. So as long as that's continuing to get better, and they continue to trust him more and more, I don't see why not.
Yeah.
But it's good to have multiple guys in the backfield. But he jumped off and looked pretty good in his time.
I mean, he went on the road and he was Ohio State's leading rusher against the Big Ten team, and I think they dropped down to 5th in the Big Ten in rush defense before Ohio State got there. But at one point, they were
that's because Iowa just went off on them, and then they're going to get that fixed.
Did give 200 yards up on the ground to Iowa, but that's significant either way. That's a feather in the cap for Isaiah.
It was very impressive. And you know what he does? I don't know if he's the home run hitter, maybe that Bo quite is, but he might be that nice compliment that's a between the tackles, downhill guy, can find a way in the hole to get a cut, slide. And you watch guys kind of fall off of him as he runs. Like he's got great balance, great lean, and just a really tough physical runner. And so you need compliments back there. And the guy's coming off an ACL from last year. And so that's why you wanted to work him in and maybe have him come along a little bit slower. And frankly, I mean, given CJ an opportunity, James Peoples an opportunity,
there's still plays for them.
They have found roles for all four of them, which is
good.
Pretty.
But you heard Ryan talk about Isaiah making guys miss in the hole in tight spaces, and I feel like Bo and him have been the ones this year that have made those guys miss in tight spaces or found those little tight creases a little bit more than the others. But there's plenty of balls to go around to these guys, and I think we're going to see all four of them here towards the end of the year.
All right, what else you got, Bob?
What else do I got?
Yeah, Buckeye leave.
Oh, Buckeye leaves. Is that what we're giving out?
Well, it's kind of just like nobody technically jumped off the screen. It's just like everybody just played solid, good football. It's give them all Buckeye leave.
I'll tee you up better next time.
Every week I feel like that's what I want to do is just give them to everybody.
Do I go to Wisconsin's punter for the play of the game?
Yeah, the longest play from scrimmage until the last drive.
It skewed the numbers. Because
on the rush,
my boy Leroy has to be. He took some. He took some ribbon and
Ohio State's defense, Bob.
You can't get shit.
He's running so slow. I'm like, where are the players?
Yeah, nobody was just paying attention.
When you see guys running that slow, like he ran 20 yards almost. So, and by the way,
it was 4th and 19, wasn't it?
It was 4th and 19. The guy got 20. He knew where those chains were. So Ohio State gave up 144 yards of offense to Wisconsin. 20 of it came from a fake
punter.
punt.
Yeah,
the numbers are bonkers for what the Silver Bullets did. I think they played 38 total snaps.
I'm going to give one to my guy, Will Kazmarek.
Okay.
Old Billy K.
Billy K? The Kaz?
They call him Bill Kazmir sometimes from back in the day, world's strongest man, Bill Kazmaier. Will Kazmarek. Maybe they're related, unknown. But
we'll get to the bottom of it.
Listen, when you're a blocking tight end, you don't usually get a whole lot of love, all right? But when you run it real good on the goal line, sometimes you can get a quarterback. They sell the play action. You can throw a nice little moon ball out there.
Yeah, it was a moon ball.
I can just just throw that up.
Grenade. Here we go.
Was that his least accurate pass of the game? People are asking.
Well, it didn't look like me, but he was so wide open, it didn't really matter. And so, when you block a lot, you get to throw those guys. They're more like a yackle. It's not really an offensive, not really a Y. You're kind of like a tackle that just blocks. And so,
is that a soft J?
Yeah. It is. And so, you know what? Kudos to my guy, Will, for getting one in there. I mean, they've got obviously Max Clare, and you've got Jelani. You got guys that, can run and do all this, and he can do that well. But, I mean, he's the grinder. He's the grunt. And so you give him a little bone every now and then.
And he got it. Pay it off with a touchdown. There's been this notion. I want to talk about Jeremiah Smith. That his stats aren't going to be enough to win the Heisman Trophy. He's frustrated with double and triple coverage. And I think in the game, he definitely is showing some signs of that. Who wouldn't be?
He wants the ball.
He wants the football. Yeah. And I think there's two parts to this. You can be frustrated in the game, and you can recognize and celebrate the success that you're creating opportunities for Carnell Tate, for Max Clare, for checkdowns to Bo Jackson where there's no one within 10 yards of him to go. I think Jeremiah Smith understands all of that. Ryan, they talked about it after the game, which I know Nicole will love it. He's being selfless, and he's having to make some sacrifices. But he's not having to sacrifice everything. So last year, through 7 games, Jeremiah Smith had 35 catches for 623 yards and had 9 touchdowns. This year, he has 49 catches for 602 yards and 8 touchdowns. He is still having an impact. And if this notion that he's given up everything, I think you gotta flush that. You gotta ignore that. Could he have 100 catches at this point because he's so good? He sure could. That's absolutely possible, but not necessarily with the way teams are defending him. And 9 of the catches, he had 9 catches on Saturday at Wisconsin, Nicole, and 6 of them went for first downs.
They could run outs to him all day long.
He can do that. He is
so easy,
guardable in those situations. And would he love to run deep balls and have 15 touchdowns at this point? Of course he would. But if teams are going to double and triple cover him all the way through January, Ohio State's going to win a national championship, and Jeremiah's going to be fine with that.
And it's funny. I was just talking about this with my family because I was thinking about how everybody was talking about how he's, the greatest receiver in the country. And there was this
and he
big
still
thing.
is.
And exactly. He still is. And it's the media. It kind of stinks almost like he's being punished for being great because now everybody thinks they have to cover him, with all 3 people, 2 people, regardless. And that's not safe for Ohio State to pass him the ball. So that's why when we talk about stats, I feel like, yes, stats are important. But at the same time, he's still such an incredible player. And like you were saying, he's being very selfless and letting some other people shine a little bit as well. But he is still amazing.
Yeah,
You watch the Cardinals touchdown pass, the safety before he comes back. He's getting off the hash to get over top of JJ and then comes back to the middle.
And it's not like they haven't been getting after JJ. I mean, there's times where it's all right, they decided they're going to throw him the ball 3 or 4, times on this drive and keep him engaged in the game. And I think there's probably a little frustration where, he probably wanted one of those because he had 2 deep shots that he could have, maybe got if Julian puts a little bit more on the first one, throws it to the back pylon. I think, Jeremiah runs right underneath of it. And then he had the other one where he was rolling out to the right. Defender made a great play, had his hand right in there and ripped it away. But, some of that, making those plays is probably some of the frustration because he wants to, when he has that opportunity, he wants to come down with it. And, it just didn't work out in this game. But, 9 catches still is not too shabby of a day.
Yeah.
And, there's also a world, Bob, where just running a 10-yard out to Jeremiah becomes your run game.
Yes.
That's just a handoff for Julian and Jeremiah. They that play, I don't know how you could possibly defend it the way those 2 are executing right now.
Yeah, they could run that over and over again all the way down the field. And that's the irony is, I think people were.
It's this team's Dave.
They were coming. Yes.
Yes.
Well, people were getting a little disenchanted with, the fact that it's always just inside run. They've been. I use the term working on it loose, but they've kind of been putting a point of emphasis on that, developing the run game in games, and then the opening drive, 7 for 7, 1 run. And I was like, are Ryan and Brian just trolling everybody here? Did they set up here to we're just going to throw it every play?
Leave us alone.
We're going to throw it every play.
We can do this. Just relax, everybody.
Yeah. Just to kind of prove that, if you want to see this, we can do it. Are you not entertained?
Yes, exactly.
But there's other things we need to do as well.
Also, statistically, that drive became a very weird anomaly because that punt rolled down there to, I believe, the 11, and they ran it once on the drive. I think Julian finished 8 for 8 for 95 yards when they started on the 11. They had a negative rush and a penalty.
It was like 95-yard drive.
I wrote it in my notebook.
-1 rushing or
and
something
I
like that.
went to talk about it on the notebook after the game. And I was like, that can't be right. They didn't start on the 5. So I'm not going to say that. That's wrong. Why did I write that? That's stupid. And turns out that was exactly what happened. And it worked. You know what's not stupid? Going to Roosters on Tuesday for Appetizer Tuesday. We don't have it out.
We don't.
Because this is friends and family.
Yes.
The mini
Very
corn
limited
dogs
menu.
mini
yes.
corn
are not available to us today.
The
but
girls are going to be upset.
at your local participating Roosters location.
And then
on
next
Tuesday.
week at this location, we'll have the Appetizer Tuesday.
Everything.
Will be open.
The world will be
Full
your
menu.
Full kitchen next week.
Full menu. Full menu starting on Thursday.
Ooh, on Thursday.
We're officially open on Thursday to the public. So.
What do you make of those mini corn dogs, Bob?
The mini corn dogs are tasty and delicious, and they're perfect for the people that I know that have wood allergies in their life because you don't have to worry about the danger of consuming any splintering situations or like that. You dip them in that delicious mustard sauce.
Or spicy ranch.
Mustard dipping sauce.
Spicy ranch.
As it's known.
Ranch on a hot dog.
Yeah, on
Come
that.
on, man.
Delicious. You can put that spicy ranch on anything.
Yeah, you can.
Yes,
you
you
really
can. Trust me.
Oh,
I've done it.
okay.
Multiple
Sounds like
times.
a story for another day. Not on the live show. Not at Roosters, which is a fun, casual joint. I appreciate very much Tansky Power Sports and Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems bringing the show to you. Thursday's the day.
Thursday's the day. Public.
Are you
starting
stressed
at
out
11
for that?
a.m.
Or
No.
What's this week like for you? All the ducks are in a row here?
It's just very exciting. Everybody's been, the team. We've brought back a lot of the team members that were here before.
I think that's the coolest part.
And
people that were around to help
Yes.
us out for the show.
Yes,
4
it's
or
like we're
5
back
years ago.
home, you guys. It was so exciting, and we're just so appreciative to
Well, it's
everyone.
like our
for
old
being-
home burned down, and then they built us a new one.
Yeah, pretty much what happened.
Oh, okay,
Pretty
yeah.
much what happened. But we're just so appreciative to everyone for being so patient, and it's here. We're excited.
It's great.
Yes.
Can't wait to be spending the rest of the season right back in here at Olentangy. It'll be open before the Penn State game a week from now. Saturday, no game. It's an off week, but we'll still be back in here next Monday. And right after this, as we take a break, Birm will be here as we roll along on the live show at Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Hey, Buckeye fans! As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 3 trips to a Buckeye first-round postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Precision engineering, rigorous attention to detail. A Bryant Evolution heating system is so well designed, it's as much of a joy to install as it is to use.
Good to go.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
To make sure you and your home stay comfortable, contact Patriot Air Comfort Systems at patriotair.com.
And we are back on the live show at Roosters, brought to you by Tansky Power Sports and Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. And Birm is here.
What a beautiful aesthetic in this joint.
Isn't it awesome?
This place is great. I'm excited for everyone in Columbus to get to see it again.
I'm excited to see you because that's the first game in
Nicest thing he's ever said to me.
like 25 years that we haven't covered together, and it didn't
Yeah.
feel right. I missed you.
It was my first regular season game I haven't been at since 2014.
You didn't go to the game.
Wow.
I did not.
2014.
My niece got married, and
That's how
on
much
Friday
you
night,
disrespected
and
Wisconsin.
I figured this was the one to miss because,
What one did you miss in 2014?
the Virginia Tech game, actually.
Why?
Because I was working with 11 Warriors at the time, and they were rotating photographers, so it was, so I missed that.
It's very ominous.
What did you make of the
It's a good thing this wasn't a loss.
couch
Oh, jeez.
couch
I know.
watching experience?
It's different, man. Honestly, like you and I were talking last week about how the Penn State game in 2022 was maybe like a reshifting of the rubric for you.
For me, yes, yeah.
And I realized, you said maybe the Illinois game will be that for you, and I think maybe there's some truth to that. I was watching it and just trying to like appreciate how incredible this run the Ohio State football program is on right now. Like, we are truly in like the best era of Ohio State football of all time.
Do you ever wish you knew you were in the good old days when you
When you
actually
were in the
did
good
before
old days.
Before they were gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly.
They're
what it is.
supposed to tell you. that you're in the good old days.
Yeah.
So you can appreciate it.
I wish that Julian Sayin would have thrown for 7 more yards because I want full credit for my bold prediction of him throwing for 404 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I realize.
Can you tack on the rushing yards?
Maybe get another.
He did have 400 total yards.
Yeah, he did.
So
maybe give another 7 yards to JJ to get him, I think, to 100 as well.
I think they were trying.
He had like 96 or 98.
They got him that big one was like a 20-yarder on that last drive.
Jeremiah Smith was targeted 13 times in that game. The idea that like he's not being productive is ludicrous, and anybody who's suggesting that should have their voice card removed.
Yeah, I didn't know that you had to have a license for your voice.
If you want to speak about something like that, you should not be allowed. If you're saying he's not being.
Oh, is that where we're at now?
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm anti-free speech.
So you
anti-free speech.
You have to earn your speech.
You got to get a license for that.
Especially when it comes to talking about things like Jeremiah Smith or trying to suggest that he's like not doing things.
Or his frustration is that he's not getting. I don't think that it's.
I think Jeremiah's frustration is with Jeremiah. That's what I think.
I think it's. I don't think it's with the offense. I think it is. He mentioned a couple weeks ago because I asked him specifically. You and I were talking about. It's like what you're frustrated. Is it the coverage? Is it you want the football more? He had those drops and that annoyed him. And I think it's. I mentioned this in Buckeye Leaves in the first half of the show. Like, who wouldn't be frustrated dealing with double and triple coverage? And the frustration, to your point, Birm, is he wants to find a solution to beat double coverage without just having to run 10-yard outs the entire game.
Yeah.
It's probably better for him to learn how to be this receiver as well.
Yeah.
Because this is what he's going to have to be in the NFL. So, like, you are not going to be the guy who averages 30 yards a catch. Like, that doesn't exist in the NFL. So, it's actually probably helping him become a more complete receiver down the road, and maybe frustrating now, but he's still getting targeted double-digit time. I mean, again, 13 targets, 9 catches. 9 catches is a career high for him. Like, it's so, yeah, Carnell's making the splash plays or the highlight plays or that first touchdown was unbelievable. The touchdown that Brandon Innes got, the throw from Julian Sayin was absurd. But Jeremiah, that's still a career high catches. Like,
and he had a couple chances to make one of those catches, and he didn't. Probably frustrated that he didn't make that play.
You had a bad day with a new career high in catches.
Exactly.
It's just the conversation. What I'm realizing is that it is very easy to nitpick. But when you just take a step back and you look at this team and look what it's doing, look what it's done for the last 25 years, it's like we are in the golden era of Ohio State football. And, like you said, obviously somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but like you don't really know you're in it until you're out of it. And it is different watching a game from the couch, that's for sure.
Well, I think he was quoting Andy Bernard.
Yes, Bernard dog.
Bernard dog.
But what's interesting about it is, and I forget, there was someone, one of the guys at the Ohio State Barstool guy came out and said this because I want credit for it. And it was because I had a conversation with, some of the folks over at the Woody, and it was during training camp. I go, I think this team might be more talented than last year's. And I was like, I don't want to say that publicly because I don't think that would be.
I'm going to wait till week 7.
Well, I think it would be irresponsible. I've said it since then. I'm like, more talented doesn't mean better. Number one, when that's the case, I go, they still have to go out and perform. Last year's team was great because of the experience and just some of the synergy of those guys playing together, especially on the defensive side.
They had been through all coming back for senior year. There's a lot.
I don't know better. I mean, it's different.
It's different.
It's different for sure, but it's obviously some parts of it where you're like, well, that's not better than last year. The run game, the defensive tackles, the ability.
But some of those things haven't been as an issue because on an aggregate, it's probably a better, at least to this point, I think a better overall team right now. And some of that's the players. Some of that is how they're playing and what guys are doing and another year of experience. And then some of it, I think, is the coaching and putting those guys in different positions that maybe wouldn't have been the case. Now, I do think like where the talent element comes in, you lost 2 great running backs. I don't know that you're ever going to replace those guys in real time, but I'm curious to see over these next 4 or 5 games what some of the younger running backs, as we just got a little taste of Isaiah West, what does he look like 4 weeks from now?
Well, that's probably. I mean, I don't know if that's the question. If that's the conversation we should have this week or next week.
Probably more of next week.
But like, there is an opportunity now for Ryan Day and this coaching staff to really dive into the personnel and figure out. Ryan was always talking about execution versus personnel versus coaching. When you're talking about the run game specifically, it sure looks different when Bo Jackson and Isaiah West have the football than when they don't. So Like, to me, that one seems like a somewhat – I don't know that that's going to solve the problem entirely because there clearly are some issues with the offensive line and getting some push and stuff like that. And especially
they're rotating.
right guard.
They're rotating some guys. They're the right guard.
That has to stop, in my opinion. Like, I think you just have to play the best player, and right now the best player seems to be Josh Padilla, so play him. Like, I don't. This is a big week, I think, for Ohio State to make some of those decisions. But you don't. The nice thing about running back, you don't have to fine. CJ and James can't play. Like, they can still play, but the bulk of the carries needs to go to the younger guys because they just are doing it better. I mean, Isaiah West has more forced missed tackles, broken tackles this year than CJ Donaldson by 3.5 times.
It's pretty good.
Okay,
that's not bad.
That's an interesting stat. Wasn't
That's
aware of that one.
didn't know that one.
Where did you procure that?
That's nuts.
Stat?
I'm just saying. He's forced 7 missed tackles.
Yeah.
CJ Donaldson's forced 2.
Yeah.
And that's crazy when you think about how little
the volume of carries.
Right, like that these are things that everyone can see, and so now you just have to figure out the balance because obviously there is a role for CJ Donaldson. He does other things very well, but maybe just handing the ball off to him isn't his strong suit in this offense because there's something just not clicking with run game.
You haven't really heard Ryan go too hard at the offensive line either this year. He's always like, all right, let's look. I think there were some areas to run in there.
I think some of it maybe his guys had missed cuts as well.
Well, that's my point. Like, and now we're seeing these young guys who are the ones that are seemingly making those cuts or making guys miss. Then it's like, all right, well, when it is there, we need one of these young guys in the game to hit that hole or to find that.
And sometimes it's the responsibility. Like, we're going to block them all but one.
Yeah.
And
that's on you.
You're at Ohio State.
Yeah, you got to be better than that.
I'm banking that you're better than the opposition. Like, that's literally how it works. You know how they count that up.
You saw on Saturday there was one play in the second quarter where the running back for Wisconsin caught a ball in the flat, and it was just him versus Sonny Styles, and the guy just dove. He just
went down,
just surrendered. I'm watching.
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
No, I'm watching. I'm like, you're a Big Ten running back, and you have a linebacker.
Even the Wisconsin
8 yards away from you, and you decide to give up.
His eyes are really big. Like, oh, here we go. Never mind.
The Wisconsin media just started laughing in the press box, and it was kind of like, well, we can understand why, because Sonny Styles was going to decapitate him, and they're like, this team's giving up. I'm like, I don't think so. I think he just wanted to protect his life because the Block O was coming at him full speed. He made a smart business decision in my mind.
That was
wild. Jay-Z, you mentioned at the top, about the offensive line. Birm brought that up. Maybe it's right guard specific. That's the only spot where they have continued to rotate.
Yeah. And the crazy, I think I saw last week was as far as the grading and everything goes, they're top 5 offensive line pass protection. And I just don't, and that's typically the harder of the two. I feel like
it takes longer to
to come around to gel as an offensive line. So it's really interesting, but I mean, there's multiple plays. Now, that wasn't all on the right guard, but there's multiple plays where it's like we're just whiffing on
most
dudes.
Of it felt like it was on the right side on Saturday for sure.
And I think if you do look at the grades, those were the lowest 2 graded. Out of any of the starters.
Let me ask you this because I know you obviously are over there. You see a lot of practice. Do you think there's any world where a guy like Ian Moore pushes in these next 2 weeks? I mean, I'm not calling for people's jobs here. I'm not trying to make this anyone's worst day at their job. I'm just saying, there is certainly some question marks when your 2 lowest graded offensive players are your right tackle and your right guard, and it seems to be a reoccurring
characters. Yeah. I think this week, curious, it's an improvement week. They went really hard in the first improvement week. A lot of long practices, especially Sunday or the first day wasn't as bad, Tuesday, but Wednesday and Thursday they got after it. Wednesday in a big way. Curious to see if they do that. If you do that, then you are trying to get. I mean, that's where you think the team needs to be. Now they're a little bit more beat up, and I think will be a throttle down some. But you want to get looks at guys.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to get looks at guys. I don't think at the beginning of the year you would have forecasted a team like Penn State of being a game
an experimental game.
We'll talk about that. I still think that's going to be a fight.
It'll be a fight. Those guys are proud and they're not going to lay down. But usually, this whole week, we're preparing for Penn State, where it's not that you're not, but you're also probably doing a lot of self-scout and maybe some points of introspection. The conversations that we're having here are probably conversations that you're having within your coaching staff about player personnel decisions, personnel groupings, distribution of how those groupings and plays are working. offensive line as we watch the film? Like, is it time maybe that we give another guy a couple series and see how that looks? Like, those are questions, and those are real.
I mean, and they've done that multiple times now, and 3 weeks in a row with Josh Padilla at right guard. I think, if the question comes up, well, why is it just picking on Tegra Shabola? I mean, maybe it could come across that way, but that's not happening at left tackle. It's not happening at left guard. It's not happening at center. And it's not happening at right tackle. Like, that's the only spot where the door has been cracked open for a different player to come through. And it can't be a coincidence if it happens 7 times.
A team with so few warts, like there's no choice but to focus on
for sure.
the big one that's right on your nose. Like that is what it is. And so if the player himself who's being rotated in and out doesn't push and
understand why,
right? Like
feel the urgency. Well, that was kind of the case last year, and then that rotation during the playoff,
the playoff kind of changed,
kind of lit a spark, and Tegra played a lot better.
Yeah,
and I think the line as a whole played a lot better. And there was rotating in Luke and
that was obviously we were forced to shuffle the deck with the injuries and stuff, but. But
at that point, like after the Michigan game too, like, okay, we're taking a hard look. We've got to get this figured out. Maybe you're part of the solution. Maybe you're not. That's a choice you get to make.
Yep.
And so we're just only going to evaluate what you give us.
Give them plenty of chances to make it better as well.
Yes. And so I think that there could be some of that.
Right. Because it's not like they're rotating him out and then he's not playing the rest of the game. Like it's a series, and then you come back in. And then it felt noticeable to me on Saturday watching the offensive line play. And I'm not trying to suggest Josh Padilla was perfect or played a perfectly clean game, but and PFF grades are obviously
what they are. Yes,
they're not gospel.
For sure.
But when you look at Padilla was the second highest graded offensive lineman in the game on Saturday and a career high number of snaps. The 2 lowest players were the other guys. And the lowest rated player was Tegra Shabola by a wide margin. So, like, everyone's seeing it. It's not like we're just nitpicking.
That Uber driver for PFF was seeing it.
Whoever was inputting the grades over there in Asia, I still love to know what factory is producing these grades and why they often don't match up quite as well with what Ohio State is handing out internally. Is there anything else, Jay-Z, that you look out for improvement week that you think Ohio State, Ryan Day will be really interested in addressing?
I would like our special teams to be a little more special.
Yeah.
All around the board, whether it's the punt return. I think the punt return has an opportunity to bite us in a big game if we were to get into one. I don't think he's letting balls go and being on the 1 yard line or just like figuring out when you need to catch it, when you don't need to catch it. It just hasn't been great back there. Field goal, we got to make 35 yarders, pretty consistently.
Yep.
We've seen that bite us before in a big game last year. So that
11 months ago.
That's something that I'd like to. I don't know what you can do. We're 7 weeks in. I don't know if we make a kicker. I'm not saying we make changes.
It did bring in a portal.
Maybe
kicker.
A little more focus on that here in the next couple of weeks and see if we can shore that up a little bit. But other than that,
I don't know how you fix that at this point.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, do you bring somebody else in, or
you hold an open tryout on campus?
I watched some of those
kicker?
kids at the McAfee.
Some of them kids boom it. Those are 30-yarders.
And it's a tight field goal, too. It's a tight
jelly roll almost make one. I mean, jeez. What's
going
on?
Why was he asking Kirk to put it on his toe?
I don't know.
Kirk was not.
I think Kirk was.
He was like, I'm about to lose an ACL. Right.
Then he tried to do it for Rodrigo Blankenship, and he was like, "No, we're not doing it that way. Sorry." That's the first time I've watched Game Day in like 10 years. Yeah. I didn't really. I see some of the clips of that. I didn't know that was like a full blown 15 minutes.
Because I just wanted bigger and bigger.
I wanted to hear from Jimmy Franks and see what kind of lipstick they could put on the pig of his career, and that part didn't disappoint. Kudos to them for
he's ready to coach football.
Yeah, just gonna go win a national championship
somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm sure UCLA is really gonna be great down the road with him. But
looks like University of Florida.
The ironic thing is, like, they can't hire him anymore, and he would have taken that job unquestionably in December.
It's really interesting. That's what
I think they can still hire him.
I've asked people. I think if you're the administration, you look at this guy can get us where we want to go. But I think all the fans would be like, this guy can't win the big one. Like, we can't get to the big one.
Let's start with that first.
Let's get to the
what it
let's
did
try and
was
win a
allowed
conference
Florida
championship.
to offer him just a little bit less money than he was probably going to get otherwise.
And that might be true.
Maybe. It's funny. I was actually reading a lot of coverage from Gainesville on Sunday on the drive back from Madison, and every single one was like, well, Florida fans and Florida administrators, they seem to want someone who's got a little Spurrier in him. And that all of them were just saying, Lane.
I don't
Lane.
know that Lane wants the job. Let me ask you this. Is that a better job than what is currently comprised at Ole Miss? I don't know if that's true anymore.
Well, here's the thing.
Building right now.
Lane is going to get to go to whatever job he wants.
Yeah.
That could be Penn State. That could be Florida.
Well, he wants Penn State.
I don't know that he does either, but he's going to get to pick. And if he loves being in Oxford and hanging out at the spa on Saturday morning or getting some yoga, getting stretched out.
I am so fascinated and desiring an outcome where Lane Kiffin lives in Happy Valley.
I mean,
that's really what I want now more than anything is that I want to see what Lane Kiffin becomes living in State College, Pennsylvania.
I don't know. I was enjoying watching him walk around outside during game day and just looking into the air because
there's people with robes on over here.
Well, they had
They had
like the Edison lights. Like obviously that's like a reception venue that they have out there. They've just got Lane on the grassy knoll, just walking around, hanging out.
Just turn it on. I'm like, where is he?
Talking about his surroundings.
It's so great.
Yay.
That's what I love. Game day now is transformed into like a little bit of game show. Kirk's amazing race at the end. Like, how does he get to where he needs to be?
Yeah.
Here's him in the back of the Jeep looking at us as we're filming him while we're driving. It's a lot of fun, Birm. You don't seem entertained. It's
a fascinating dynamic
because watched it, so I don't know.
That's again, like I said, I haven't watched it in years, and they're on one hand trying to present an exclusive, super serious rehab interview with James Franklin, and then over his shoulder it says Lane Kiffin poops standing up. Like, which one of these shows do you want to be?
You know, you have to be willing to be all things to all people in those moments, I guess.
All right.
I forgot about this.
Either way, Ohio State's a pretty good job. They're doing fine.
Yeah,
they are. And everybody, it's amazing listening and talking to some national people. I think there's just kind of a consensus that they're the best team. Now, everybody's kind of come to terms with Julian Sayin, while he may not look spectacular because it makes it look so easy, this team has everything they need. It almost kind of feels like that second year of the Georgia back-to-back where everything was kind of going so well. It's like wash, rinse, and repeat. Ryan's got this thing humming, and I don't know if there's anything stopping it.
I'm curious to see what happens with the Heisman straw polls this week and Julian Sayin, because he's been largely overlooked.
No one's really talking about it.
I think he moved up to fourth.
Or now
the gambling odds always had him out there, but
Carson Beck imploding it.
He's at plus 400.
On some dynamite.
He's at plus 400 on what I saw.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Is he the favorite, or was Mendoza the favorite?
Mendoza and the kid at Bama, Tyler Simpson.
Tyler Simpson. Mendoza and Simpson are playing really well,
but they're like 350, 365, and
pretty
he's 400.
close.
So it's not.
The thing with Mendoza is that he has a really great story with his transfer and moving around, and he's at Indiana. People are hey, dude.
I mean, it's true. Not a lot of guys transfer these days.
Yeah, but he's a South Florida kid. I'm sitting there thinking,
who went to Cal.
Miami could have had this kid or Carson Beck, the interception machine.
Exactly. How did you not get him? By the way, Florida and Florida State, how did you let him walk out here? And then, by the
Thomas Castellanos was a better choice. Apparently.
Then when you had him on the second time, when you could have got him coming out of college at Cal, you still chose no.
We're good.
Florida State announced that they're not firing Mike Norvell yet
until the end of the season.
Which is insane.
Why rush?
They're gonna
if it's going to happen, do it.
Yeah, rip the Band-Aid off. So my question was about Julian Sayin. Has he officially earned the BPS designation? Because I didn't know that we were ever going to see a ball placement specialist quite like C.J. Stroud ever again in my lifetime. And now I'm like,
it's pretty accurate.
Maybe it's better. I don't know.
It's insane.
It's pretty special.
But is he a BPS? Yes or no?
I mean,
he's completing 80% of his passes.
Is that good?
Dude, what he throws, it looks like when he's throwing that out to JJ, it looks like routes on air.
Yeah.
There are rushers and there are people covering them.
Some Big Ten defenders out there.
It's really
not pictured. Guy covering JJ.
Guy covering him.
You've got CJ. But the thing is, what you saw on Saturday is when he wants to let it rip.
Oh, he can.
He lets it rip.
He's got some zip on it too. CJ at times it looked like it was just effortless and it never really looked like he was throwing hard. But on the throw to Ennis, for example, that's a dart, man. That is a ball that
just a mile on the Sideline. I mean, he lit that. He got into that one a little bit too.
I'm thinking, man, he missed through that. It's out of
No,
bounds.
yeah.
And Milan does like drags his foot.
I mean, yeah. How about there's 2 young guys in there playing in the second quarter?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Couple catches there for Quincy
But,
Porter. So
yeah, I mean, Julian's just been he's been awesome, and he can do that, but he doesn't force it, because I think there's even times on checkdowns where maybe he had a window if he just held on to it for just a slight, but I'm going to take the first down right here. He doesn't need to force anything. He's just so calm and cool and just,
You're not down by 10 with 7 minutes to go.
Fair enough,
Like, be smart. That's what Ron, don't put the game at risk.
Yeah.
Like, there's a time to make those throws. That's what you're like, I threw an interception at the end of the game. Like, and Romo would tell me, he's like, well, I know if I don't try to make that throw, I guarantee we lose.
Yeah.
We have to go get yards and have to get a first down. Whereas in this, like, you can pick your spots. All right, I'm going to gun in here to Carnell. I feel pretty good about this. We can put it in the back line to Brandon. But you know what? It's 2nd and 10.
Yeah.
Bloop.
Well, second and 8 right now. I'm just going to drop down. We got 1st and 10 here. Like he's really good at that as well.
He's so much better. I mean, certainly than I think anybody even inside of the Woody Hayes thought he was going to be at this point. I mean, the Buckeyes were actively trying to find other quarterbacks at the end of spring football. And now you've seen what happens if you just let the kid develop, and Ryan Day apparently knows what he's doing with quarterbacks.
seems like it's working out just fine. Ohio State goes on the road. They beat Wisconsin 34-0, and they have earned a celebratory improvement week. It's the best way to do it. You go into your off week number 2, and you're riding high. You're undefeated. You're the number 1 team in the country. It is hard to ask much more than that. So they'll get a weekend off, and then by this time next Monday, we'll be in here back on Olentangy. This place is open.
With a fully operational
Death Star. It will open to the public. Don't miss it. Grand opening, reopening of this location on Thursday. But it might as well be a grand opening because it is a completely different building. It is phenomenal inside. And we'll be back here to preview Ohio State against Penn State as the November. What's November for, Jay-Z? I can't remember.
Contenders.
November is for contenders.
Are you going to grow your mustache again?
Oh, sure. You want me to?
Yeah, sure.
Done.
I know Ellen loves it. So.
Yeah, she loves it.
Well, it won't be November yet when we're in here, but the Buckeyes will kick off.
You got to start that early so you have a nice thick one
ready to go
all the way through
first
November.
of November.
Yeah.
Bob's you're just gonna let that go? A nice thick one. Anyway, thanks for joining us for the live show.
Trying to set him up.
Roosters, brought to you by Tansky Power Sports and Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. Thanks to this team that's doing all this hard work to get Roosters open on Olentangy. Thanks to Nicole Cox, Justin Zwick, Bobby Carpenter, and Jeremy Birmingham. I'm Austin Ward. Have a great week. We'll see you next week for the live show.